The savannah is a blazing battlefield of life and death. There is no room for error in this brutal game. Instinct must scream to survive the unforgiving darkness. In the mythology of the Khoisan people, baboons were once a tribe of humans. But for their laziness, their love of noisy gossip and theft, they were punished by the gods. A hoe was transformed into a tail, fused to the spine, forcing them to walk on all fours. The humbled posture of the baboon is an eternal warning against the consequences of indolence. Today, on the savannah, myth has given way to harsh reality, and the brain is their ultimate weapon of survival. Baboons are masters of strategy, diplomacy, and alliance. Their lives are woven from complex relationships, silent pacts, and unending confrontations. To survive, they have formed one of the most effective defensive coalitions on the plains. Action stems not from altruism, but from cold calculation. On the vast savannah, the baboon and the impala form a perfect defensive alliance. The impala's hearing and sense of smell are far superior. It can detect the scent of a predator from a great distance. Meanwhile, the baboon, with its elevated position and sharp vision, can survey any movement on the horizon. Together, they form a dual radar system with no blind spots. Against such a mixed group, a leopard's success rate falls below 20%. It is in this role as sentinel that a fateful confrontation unfolds. Their greatest nightmare, Africa's most successful solitary predator, is concealed in the bush, the leopard. Its weapon is not fang or claw, but the art of absolute camouflage. A coat of rosettes breaks up the body's outline, allowing it to merge with its surroundings. It approaches its prey without making a sound. But the leopard commands only the space before it, having neglected the sky above. On a nearby acacia branch, a baboon has been watching for some time. With trichromatic vision, like that of a human, it clearly distinguishes every movement in the landscape. The leopard's camouflage is rendered useless before these discerning eyes. A short, dry bark shatters the silence. It is the highest level of alarm. The impala does not think. It reacts on pure instinct. It leaps into the air, performing a stot of nearly 10 feet before vanishing into the thicket. The hunt is over before the leopard has even begun. Fury rises in the heart of the predator. While the baboon troop cheers in exhilaration, leaping triumphantly in the high branches, below, the leopard retreats with an empty stomach. The hunter needs a new target on which to vent its rage: the warthog. One should not be deceived by its ungainly appearance. The warthog is a light armored tank, capable of reaching speeds of 30 miles per hour. It possesses 2 pairs of curved razor-sharp tusks, honed continuously every time it opens its mouth. When threatened, the warthog backs into its burrow, pointing its tusks outward like a deadly fence. The burrow's entrance becomes an impregnable fortress. The leopard's only chance is to strike while the warthog is still in retreat. The warthog's vision is poor. It relies mainly on its sense of smell. The leopard launches like a golden arrow. The warthog panics, trying to flee to its burrow, but it is too late. A precise bite to the throat ends all resistance. It was a technically perfect hunt, but a nutritional failure. The hunger remains, and the image of the baboon still haunts the leopard's mind. It is time to settle the score. Dusk descends, and darkness envelops the savannah. The fading light takes with it the confidence of diurnal creatures like the baboon. But for the leopard, this is when the true performance begins. The 50-foot-high canopy is no longer a safe refuge. Behind the leopard's retina lies a secret weapon, the tapetum lucidum. This biological structure acts like a living mirror, reflecting light back through the retina. As a result, the leopard's eyes gather light 7 times more effectively than human eyes. The moment the leopard sets foot on the main branch, chaos erupts. There is no defensive formation, no alarm call, no resistance. The baboons are in a state of panic. No one sees the enemy. No one knows where it came from. The leopard glides through the turmoil with a terrifying calm. It targets the largest prize, the most powerful male baboon. Its steel-like jaws clamp down on the prey's skull. When the sun returns, the balance of power instantly shifts. The baboons regain their trichromatic vision and, more importantly, the confidence of their numbers. The trauma of the previous night quickly transforms into collective fury. More than 50 baboons forge a menacing semicircular cordon. Theirs is not an attack of bites, but a campaign of psychological warfare. The leopard, a solitary predator, is suddenly dwarfed by this hostile assembly. It knows that a single wound could spell the end of its life as a hunter. This overwhelming imbalance of power forces a retreat. The shrieking baboons give chase, their intent not to kill, but to disgrace. This is their most satisfying retribution. The victory over the leopard is like a shot of adrenaline injected into the entire troop. A wave of euphoria spreads, driving them to challenge the very throne of the savannah. Their target is the lion, the apex of the food chain. They are not so foolish as to attack a 290-pound adult lioness. But to eliminate a future king, that is the ultimate survival strategy. When hunger compels the lioness to hunt, her cubs are left hidden in the thicket. At only 3 weeks old and weighing less than 11 pounds, they rely completely on their ability to remain unseen. Their spotted coats provide camouflage in the dappled light. This disguise might deceive a hyena, but for the baboons, the sentinels from above, it is no defense. Having spotted their target, the troop approaches with a clear strategy: to seize the young. In mere seconds, the lion cub is torn from its hiding place and dragged away in the confusion. By the time the lioness returns, it is too late. The thicket that once sheltered her young is now empty and cold. Her roar echoes, filled with agony and fury. But the baboons are already in the high branches, far beyond the reach of her claws. Today, they have struck a fatal blow to the king's empire. The pain of losing a child cannot fill a stomach roaring with hunger. On the contrary, hatred consumes energy faster than any metabolic process. To exact her revenge, the lioness needs fuel. Her target is the blue wildebeest, the nomads of the savannah. A fully grown male can weigh up to 550 pounds, a mobile fortress of muscle with a pair of scythe-like horns. The lioness knows her own biological limits. With a heart that is small in proportion to her body, she cannot sustain a long chase. She must get within the kill zone, a range of about 100 feet. An opportunity arises when a wildebeest strays from the herd. The lioness coils every muscle, then springs like an arrow. The impact is like a motorcycle hitting a brick wall. It thrashes violently, escaping into the chaos of the herd. The lioness watches, helpless, as her quarry disappears among hundreds of its kind. Defeated by the wall of horns, the lioness must change her target. She turns her attention to the noisy neighbors who always travel with the wildebeest, the plains zebra. On the savannah, wildebeest and zebra coexist in a perfect nutritional balance. The zebra graze first, consuming the tougher, older grasses. In doing so, they clear the way for the wildebeest to reach the tender green shoots beneath. But for a lion, a herd of zebra presents a complex visual puzzle. When the herd moves in a panic, thousands of stripes merge into a bewildering optical illusion. With her monochromatic vision, the lioness cannot distinguish one individual from another. But this time, the lioness has no other option. Hunger has sharpened her senses to their absolute peak. She ignores the visual chaos and locks onto a single zebra at the edge of the herd. It is a weak link in the defensive chain. The lioness attacks from the flank. Her knife-like claws sink deep into the zebra's flesh. The zebra stumbles, loses its balance, and finally collapses. A bite to the trachea, and all resistance ends in silence. The San people tell a fascinating story about this animal. Long ago, the zebra's coat was entirely white. When a great drought swept the savanna, a fierce baboon took control of the only waterhole. The zebra bravely rose to challenge the baboon. In the ensuing confrontation, the zebra delivered a powerful kick, sending the baboon flying against a rock and leaving the permanent red mark seen on the baboon's rump to this day. However, in the struggle, the zebra lost balance and fell backward into a fire. As a result, the burning logs left long black scorch marks across the zebra's white coat. The energy from 110 pounds of zebra meat is converted into raw, muscular power. The surge of glucose reactivates the clarity and strategic calculation in the lioness's brain. It is time to execute a brutal plan of revenge. Lions are the only cats with a complex social structure, and coordinated hunting is the pinnacle of their tactical intelligence. But this time, the tactic is not a complex encirclement. Their target is specific, the alpha male. Complacent, after his victory, the alpha baboon makes a fatal mistake, straying from the protection of his troop. This is the moment the lions have been waiting for. But they do not anticipate that their roars of victory and the chaos of the hunt have unintentionally awakened the fury of an implacable foe. The Cape buffalo. The Cape buffalo. This is an act of proactive, defensive aggression. The Cape buffalo is the only animal in Africa known to actively hunt lions. The lion pride's perfect ambush rapidly disintegrates. The buffalo has no interest in the baboons. Its only goal is to eliminate the big cats that dared to trespass on its territory. Amidst the chaos, the lions are forced to abandon their kill to save themselves, giving the baboons a chance to escape to the safety of the high branches. Possessing a neck skin nearly an inch thick that serves as a natural shield, and a fused horn boss on its head as hard as rock, the buffalo is a living tank. The baboons have survived by a simple principle. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And once again, the Cape buffalo has proven that on this savanna, it is sometimes the one that dictates the rules of the game. Having survived life-or-death confrontations with the kings and phantoms of the savannah, the baboon troop now faces a new reality at the edge of the dense forest. The light fades beneath a thick canopy, a place where their intelligence is pushed to its absolute limit. This is the domain of the chimpanzee. At Gom Stream National Park, scientists have documented a harsh reality. Chimpanzees have an intense craving for animal protein. But the baboons are not entirely defenseless. The wahoo call rings out like an alarm, and the entire troop reacts instantly. They take a great risk, scrambling onto the thinnest branches where the chimpanzees' heavier bodies cannot follow. Here, their smaller size becomes their greatest advantage for survival. The intelligence of the baboon has long captured the attention of biomedical science. They share up to 94% of their DNA with humans and have organs of a similar size. Baboons were used in some of the first heart and liver transplants and as research models for epilepsy. Their silent suffering in laboratories remains an ethical debate without end. In their conflict with chimpanzees, the baboons are rarely alone. Sometimes, the chimpanzee's hunt is met with an unexpected obstacle. The appearance of a hornbill shatters all of their plans. Lacking the fine serrations on its primary wing feathers, the hornbill's aerodynamics are poor. This creates turbulent airflows, causing each wing beat to produce a resounding whoosh sound. At a distance of over 300 feet, the noise can reach 70 decibels. The jarring sound in the quiet forest is like the roar of a motorcycle. From its vantage point above, the hornbill misses no movement below. It possesses 4-channel color vision, allowing it to detect spectrums of light invisible to most mammals. To the bird's eyes, the black coats of the chimpanzees stand out sharply against the green foliage. Upon spotting a threat, the startled hornbill takes flight. Its heavy wing beats and alarm calls echo through the forest. For the baboons, this is precious information, a clear signal that chimpanzees are very close. The element of surprise, the key to any successful ambush, has completely vanished. Below, red river hogs approach quietly. They are drawn here by a symbiotic relationship. Over 30% of the fruit dropped by the primates above becomes a buffet for them on the forest floor. A group of red river hogs, known as a sounder, typically consists of 12 to 20 individuals. They move like a whirlwind, sweeping the ground beneath the trees. Their snout, with its tough cartilage and elastic nasal disc, combined with powerful neck muscles, turns them into living plows. They can churn up 4 inches of soil in seconds, searching for roots and insects. Their sense of smell acts as a highly sensitive biological radar. The noise from the sounder plunges the immediate area into chaos. They inadvertently become spoilers of any ambush that relies on the chimpanzee's silence. However, chimpanzees dare not challenge the red river hogs. These animals can weigh up to 220 pounds and reach speeds of 22 miles per hour when threatened. True to their name, they are excellent swimmers and will not hesitate to dive into water to escape. But the greatest threat to the chimpanzee's plan comes from the African bush elephant. These ecosystem engineers possess the power to alter the very structure of the forest. An adult elephant must consume over 300 pounds of vegetation each day. Their inefficient digestive system compels them to eat almost constantly. With a trunk containing over 40,000 muscle bundles, they can topple even large trees. Each felled tree inadvertently creates a strategic disaster for the chimpanzees. The fallen trunk blocks the aerial pathways they use to corner the baboons. A dangerous gap now opens in the canopy. The chimpanzees are trapped. They cannot jump across such a void. Their only option is to descend to the ground. And at that moment, the game changes entirely. On the flat forest floor, the biological advantage shifts completely to the baboons. Chimpanzees walk on their knuckles. Their pelvic structure and spine, adapted for climbing, make sprinting awkward and inefficient. Baboons, in contrast, are true four-legged sprinters. They can reach speeds of 28 miles per hour and maintain incredible stamina. The baboons seize their opportunity, dashing across the open ground and leaving their pursuers far behind. As the baboons make their escape, the chimpanzee's hunger remains unappeased. Their gaze shifts to the high canopy, where red colobus monkeys are moving slowly. The presence of the red colobus inadvertently provides a shield for the baboons. When chimpanzees attack, the red colobus monkeys are almost completely unable to resist. They lack the knowledge to escape to the flimsy outer branches as the baboons do. The males gather and scream in an attempt to intimidate, but weighing only 22 pounds and possessing no real weapons, their efforts are futile. The success rate for chimpanzees hunting red colobus can be as high as 85%. Once a colobus monkey is targeted, its chance of survival is vanishingly slim. The baboons live, while the red colobus pays the ultimate price. The baboon's survival instincts and intelligence are not limited to defense. They are also opportunistic predators. Newborn impala become targets for male baboons in need of protein. But the impala mothers do not give up their young easily. Maternal instinct transforms them into fierce warriors. Faced with such determined resistance, the baboons often have to retreat. With Thompson's gazelles, the situation is entirely different. Thompson's gazelles are renowned for their speed, capable of reaching 50 miles per hour. But for a newborn fawn, the primary survival strategy is to remain perfectly still. Its grayish-brown coat allows it to blend in with the dry grass. This tactic might deceive a lion or a hyena, but it is useless against the trichromatic vision of a baboon. They see the young gazelle as clearly as an ink spot on white paper. There is no sound to give warning. The baboon lunges, and a single decisive bite ends everything. So fast, the prey has almost no time to react. It is all over in seconds, cold, precise, and absolute. Escaping the claws and jaws of the land does not mean an end to all danger. The seemingly calm water marks the boundary between life and death. They know that here, all of their survival advantages are rendered useless. A speed of 28 miles per hour on land means nothing in the current. Their phenomenal climbing skills are of no use. They are completely and utterly vulnerable. And the enemy that waits here is a killing machine, perfected over 200 million years. The Nile crocodile, a living fossil from the Jurassic period, is the most successful predator in evolutionary history. It has no need for pursuit. An extremely slow metabolism allows it to lie motionless in the mud for hours on end. The flat surface of the river is a perfect visual illusion. Only its eyes and nostrils break the surface, camouflaged amongst the water hyacinths. On the crocodile's snout are hundreds of dermal pressure receptors visible as small black dots. They are 10 times more sensitive than human fingertips. Amid this relentless cycle, life is sustained not only by muscular strength, but by a symphony of intellect and calculated alliances. Each creature carries its own strategy to compensate for biological shortcomings, where unity forms a protective wall and alertness becomes the ultimate weapon. This game has no room for error. For every fragile gap is a boundary of fate. In the end, reality teaches that to survive, instinct must always be paired with relentless acuity. On the vast plains of Uganda, peace is a fleeting luxury. The worst drought in a decade is wringing the life from this land, pushing every creature to its absolute limit. And when desperation reigns, the most primal of conflicts will ignite. Among them, few spectacles can rival the clash between a lion and a Cape buffalo. On one side, the continent's most fabled predator. A calculated sovereign whose masterful skill has placed it firmly at the apex of the food chain. Leading the charge are the males, gliding through the tall grass like gilded phantoms. Their target is a colossal buffalo weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, separated from its herd. The hunt begins, and the savannah transforms into a battlefield. A stark contrast, the brute force of tooth and claw against the iron discipline of the herd. To hunt a buffalo is a perilous gamble. One wrong move can mean disaster. A primal struggle that has echoed across the African wilderness for countless generations. As the midday heat peaks, turning the savannah into a vast furnace, even the top predators are forced to retreat. Sated and weary, the lions withdraw into the sparse shade of thorn bushes, leaving the buffalo carcass to the blistering sun. But in Uganda, the end of one hunt is merely the signal for a new contest to begin. The feast is now passed to the great scavengers. From the endless, glaring sky, dark shadows descend. Vultures, the masterful navigators of the upper air, have sensed death from miles away. They land in a calculated chaos, spreading their vast wings to intimidate rivals, fighting for every last scrap of flesh. Yet their dominance is short-lived. The midday stillness is soon shattered by chilling wild cries. A clan of spotted hyenas arrives. One should not be deceived by their somewhat furtive appearance. These are true bone-crushing machines. With a tyrannical bite force, they effortlessly tear apart the ribcage the lions left behind. They do not just eat the meat, they pulverize the hardest bones to extract the nutrient-rich marrow within. Every crunch is an assertion of their absolute power in the second tier of the food chain. Lingering on the outer circle are the jackals. Small but cunning, they wait patiently, their furtive eyes tracking the rhythm of the hyena clan. Under the searing sun, a miniature ecosystem is operating with astonishing perfection. Blood, flesh, and bone, nothing is wasted. Death, however brutal, becomes the very source that sustains dozens of other creatures, completing a cycle in this wild land that is eternal and unforgiving. Deep in the heart of East Africa, Uganda emerges as an ancient, wild kingdom, where life still flows to a primal rhythm. From its mist-shrouded rainforests to its golden savannas and winding river valleys, this is a miraculous world of adaptation and survival. Here, every creature, great and small, plays an indispensable role in nature's grand symphony. In Uganda, nature is not merely a backdrop. It is a living story told in every footprint on the soil, every call from the treetops, and every ripple on the river's surface. But this kingdom is changing. Survival no longer demands adaptation just to the tooth and claw of a predator. All species must now contend with a more devastating, invisible foe, a warming world. The wilderness is forced to write a harsher chapter with every dawn. While the great predators command the dramatic spotlight, another resident plays an equally vital role in shaping this dynamic ecosystem. The African elephant, the largest land mammal on the planet. Their presence is not just an existence, it is a reshaping of the entire landscape. With a diet consisting entirely of vegetation, a single adult can consume between 330 and 440 pounds of plant matter each day. These giants are the true architects of the ecosystem. By toppling trees, they create open spaces, allowing sunlight to reach the ground and encouraging the growth of fresh grasses, the lifeblood of zebra and antelope. But the elephant's true power is most evident when the heat becomes unforgiving. In the dry season, when riverbeds are but hot sand and resources are scarce, elephants display a remarkable intelligence and ingenuity. Using their powerful tusks and feet, they dig deep into the dry riverbeds in search of water. Beneath the scorched sand, they reach the water table. These temporary wells not only sustain the elephant herds, but also become lifelines for countless other species struggling with thirst. Without the elephants' excavations, death would be the certain fate for many smaller creatures. The social life of elephants is as magnificent as their impact on the land. Led by an experienced matriarch, these tight-knit family units hold knowledge of secret water sources and safe migration routes passed down through decades. When threatened, they form protective circles around their young, a formidable display of unity that is enough to make even lions retreat. In this land, one realizes a profound truth. The greatest power lies not in the claws of the hunter, but in the strength that nurtures and protects life, belonging to these gentle giants. As the giants' footsteps fade into the dusty haze, the legacy they leave behind begins to speak. The temporary wells in the dry riverbeds now become focal points of survival, drawing a diverse community in desperate need of life. The warthog enters with its rugged appearance and an unshakable spirit of determination. With dark, bristly skin that serves as natural armor against the savanna's harshness, this compact creature gets to work as an expert excavator. Its snout easily breaks through the hard-packed earth to find roots and hidden nutrients. Though it often chooses to retreat into the bush when cornered, the warthog reveals a fierce courage, ready to use its sharp tusks to injure any careless predator. Its strength and resolve make it a surprisingly formidable opponent, even for the savanna's heavyweights. Yet, the warthog values freedom over confrontation. Whenever it senses an escape route, it will bolt towards dense vegetation or nearby burrows, using the landscape to conceal itself and evade danger. It lives in a balance of bravery and caution. And that delicate blend is what ensures its survival in one of Africa's most challenging environments. Under the brilliant sun, the stripes of a zebra herd create a mesmerizing visual display. Their bold black and white patterns are more than just individual markings. They are a living defense system. As the herd moves as one around the water source, the stripes create a shimmering, disorienting barrier that makes it a formidable challenge for a lion or leopard to single out an individual target. The silence is broken by the explosive leaps of the impala. An embodiment of speed and instinct, its slender, agile body can weave through threats with astonishing grace. Each bound into the air is not merely flight, but a calculated display of evasion, a life preserved by the narrowest of margins. Standing as a monument to quiet strength, the eland surveys the savanna as the largest of all antelope. With remarkable heat tolerance, the eland can extract nutrients from the driest, toughest shrubs that other species ignore. Its massive body and long, spiraled horns are not only an effective defense against lions, but also a testament to its resilience in a dry season without a single drop of rain. The eland can extract essential nutrients from dry, coarse vegetation, which many herbivores struggle with, and can survive without constant access to large water sources. This makes it one of the most capable survivors of the dry season. With its superior height, it browses on leaves and branches beyond the reach of other animals, accessing food in areas smaller species cannot. Though not a predator, its size and strength make it a potential target for male lions and hyenas. However, its muscular legs and formidable horns provide an effective defense, and its ability to move into more rugged terrain further increases its chances of survival. Eland often form small family groups rather than large herds, coordinating their defense and keeping watch for potential threats. Their presence on the savanna is a reminder of nature's resilience, where sheer strength and adaptability ensure that life persists even in the harshest conditions. The eland's resilience is being tested by a hunting party on the brink of desperation. Concealed in the thorn scrub, a pride of lionesses. The backbone of the pride now shows gaunt rib cages beneath sun-darkened coats, carrying the sharp edge of those who have not eaten in days. In their desperation, they take their positions, moving like golden specters through the dry grass. A thunderous charge shatters the stillness. Though the eland possesses formidable horns and a massive frame, it cannot withstand the devastating coordination of a pride maddened by hunger. The giant falls in a cloud of dust, its life given to sustain a lion dynasty on the verge of collapse. Not far away, topis stand proudly on elevated mounds of earth. With their sharp awareness, they are devoted sentinels, constantly monitoring the slightest ripple of danger from kilometers away. They are well adapted to harsh areas with little water and use dense vegetation for cover when threatened, relying on speed and agility to escape their enemies. Yet, despite these skills, the topi remains part of an unforgiving natural cycle, facing constant competition and the ever-present threat of predators. Socially, topi form small family groups or medium-sized herds. This structure allows the adults to protect the younger, more vulnerable members in the center while standing guard at the periphery. The cooperative behavior of these groups highlights the importance of teamwork and vigilance for survival in the challenging savanna environment. Among the tall residents of the Ugandan savanna, the Rothschild's giraffe is distinguished by its sheer height and elegance. Its long legs and a neck, adorned with distinctive patches, make it one of the most majestic creatures in the region. Its stature gives it a unique advantage. It can browse on leaves that other herbivores cannot reach, reducing competition and ensuring access to the best resources. Despite its size, the giraffe moves with a deliberate, unhurried grace. It browses slowly while maintaining a vigilant watch over its surroundings. This sharp vision allows it to spot predators like lions and leopards from a great distance. And if threatened, it can defend itself with powerful forward kicks, strong enough to deter most attackers. Feeding mainly on treetop leaves, the Rothschild's giraffe covers large areas of the savanna, adapting to different types of vegetation along the way. This constant movement helps it stay healthy and resilient, making the most of the land while living in harmony with the natural cycles of its environment. The Rothschild's giraffe is a prime example of adaptation at its finest. Its height, strength, and vigilance combine for survival in a competitive ecosystem. Observing this creature reveals how nature balances fragility and power, creating an animal that is both graceful and resilient on the vast African plains. But as the heat continues to tighten its grip, even the most reliable wells begin to run dry. The scent of distant water begins to call a promise of life, but also the whisper of death. From the cracked grasslands, survival instinct drives the herds away from the protection of the giants and towards the lower reaches of the Nile. They are unaware that beneath the deceptively calm, shimmering surface, ancient eyes have been waiting patiently for a very long time. A new battlefield is opening, where the victor is not the strongest, but the one who can wait for the perfect moment. In rivers like the White Nile, the cool water is the last bastion against the savannah's searing heat. The hippopotamus, the river's lumbering giant, spends most of its life submerged to protect its sensitive skin from the scorching sun. Though their bulky form suggests slowness, they are astonishingly fast, capable of charging at nearly 20 miles per hour underwater. The merciless drought is forcing this creature into a dangerous trade-off. Depleted food sources drive the hippos from the safety of the river, compelling them to trek across cracked plains under the harsh sun to find the almost 90 pounds of grass they need each day. Despite their seemingly lethargic demeanor, they are among Africa's most territorial and dangerous animals. With jaws that can open to an extraordinary degree and razor-sharp tusks, their explosive power can inflict horrific wounds on any intruder. But the hippos are not the river's only nightmare. Here, Nile crocodiles, creatures seemingly forgotten by time, are engaged in a quiet ritual of survival. These ancient predators are basking, claiming the most strategic positions along the water's edge. They lie as motionless as armored statues. After a bloody feast on migrating wildebeest, the crocodiles need extreme heat to activate their intensely powerful stomach acids. Lying side by side, They create a thermal advantage. The heat from one body warms another, forming a vast biological furnace to digest everything from femur to hoof. While basking, a crocodile can engage in unihemispheric sleep. One half of the brain rests, while the other remains fully alert, ever watchful for enemies. They appear entirely static, yet with each passing second, their brains process thousands of inputs, changes in air pressure, the faintest vibrations. This is not lethargy. It is the storing of power for a single decisive moment yet to come. But the order of this riverbank is about to be challenged by a force from the mainland. A power capable of shattering the stillness of these prehistoric reptiles. A herd of African elephants emerges. For these giants, the river is more than just a place to quench their thirst. It is a sanctuary for renewing family bonds. Led by a matriarch who carries the memories of decades within her. The herd's majestic presence instantly strips the ancient predators of their dominance. One wise crocodile chooses retreat, launching into the murky water to preserve its life. The arrival of these gentle giants swiftly alters the entire scene. Prompting the other armored assassins to silently abandon their posts, melting back into the river. It is a silent admission of an overwhelming power. As the elephants claim the riverbank, a more fundamental order is asserted. A testament to the intricate system of invisible connections that weaves together all life on the savannah. As the banks of the Nile settle after the brutal confrontations, life once again takes to the skies, where the birds begin to write a new chapter in the epic of survival. Far from the blood-tinged waters, in the quiet wetlands, a ghost from a prehistoric age emerges from among the reeds and papyrus, the shoebill. With its enormous, stone-hard beak and a chilling stare, It can stand motionless for hours, like a wooden statue carved from the past. This patience is not laziness, but a lethal weapon honed over millions of years of evolution. The moment a lungfish carelessly surfaces from the mud, that beak strikes with the speed of a lightning bolt, sealing the prey's fate. Under the burning sun, it is a symbol of absolute stillness, a solitary predator that reigns over the misty backwaters. Meanwhile, on the sun-drenched grasslands, the secretary bird chooses to stride across the earth on long, elegant legs rather than soar above. One should not be fooled by its long eyelashes and aristocratic bearing, for this is a specialist assassin of the savannah's most venomous snakes. It moves like a dancer on a stage of death, its sharp eyes missing no vibration in the dry grass. When facing its foe, it delivers thunderous stomps with a force 5 times its own body weight, powerful enough to crush an opponent's skull in a single motion. It is a perfect fusion of regal beauty and destructive power, a terrestrial warrior that never retreats from danger. Above it all, the majestic cry of the African fish eagle spirals through the air, a sound so iconic it is known as the voice of Africa. With broad wings resplendent in the morning sun, it carves circles of authority in the sky above the roiling river. Its piercing yellow eyes can penetrate the water's surface from hundreds of feet away, locking onto targets hidden beneath the silvered waves. In an instant, it tucks its wings and dives like an arrow, using talons as sharp as razors to lift its prey from the water in a dance of power and precision. Every wingbeat and every sharp glance from above contributes to the magnificent symphony of survival played out under the sun. When these wings come to rest in the high branches, they make way for a new chapter in the struggle, one that continues quietly in the sweltering shade. In the oppressive heat of the day, when most creatures seek refuge from the scorching sun, a silent phantom is on the move. The African leopard. Its slender body, adorned with rosettes of gold and black, blends perfectly with the harsh sunlight and sparse shadows of the dry foliage. While lions and cheetahs are exhausted by the heat, this solitary assassin sees it as a golden opportunity. The drought demands extreme patience. It can lie motionless for hours, still as a stone, its cool eyes scanning the sun-drenched landscape for a young antelope or a troop of monkeys weakened by thirst. Its keen eyesight and acute hearing capture the most desperate movements from a great distance. And when the moment comes, the midday stillness is torn apart. It lunges with lethal speed and precision, dispatching its small prey before a cry can even escape. But in this thirsty land, making the kill is only half the battle. The scent of fresh blood quickly evaporates and travels far in the hot, dry air, alerting the keen noses of scavengers. Wasting not a second, the leopard displays its extraordinary strength. Clamping its jaws on the prey, sometimes heavier than its own body, it uses its sharp claws to haul the carcass high into the branches of a tree. This is the ultimate survival strategy. Its meal is suspended, perfectly safe from the reach of lions and hyenas, who can only look up from below in helpless frustration. In an environment where resources are unpredictable, the cunning and vertical power of this solitary hunter are a perfect testament to adaptability and resilience. From the rolling savannas to the dark, dense forests of Uganda, the wild world continues its eternal rhythm. Elephant herds move with a quiet majesty. Lions assert their dominance under the setting sun, and countless other creatures struggle daily to survive against all odds. In this land, we come to realize an evident truth. The greatest power belongs not to the tooth and claw of the hunter, but to the strength that nurtures and sustains life. However, this ancient kingdom stands on the precipice of a profound change. The most devastating battle for survival that all species now face is no longer fought by the laws of the jungle, but against the harsh realities of a changing global climate. The delicate balance of nature has nurtured this planet for millions of years. Under the crimson sunset of the savannah, each individual is an inseparable part of a sophisticated and miraculous web of life. And though our journey may end here, ensuring that this great symphony continues to play for all the dawns to come is now entirely in our hands. High above, the stillness of the forest is suddenly shattered. Immense wings churn the air, a heavy rhythm asserting the dominance of the hornbill, the sovereign of Borneo's skies. This island is a sanctuary for 8 distinct species of hornbill. But most striking is the rhinoceros hornbill, a living icon of the island. Its hollow casque acts as a resonance chamber, amplifying calls that carry for miles to mark territorial boundaries. Their lives are inextricably linked to ancient, towering trees. The continuity of their lineage depends entirely upon these hollow trunks. During the breeding season, the female seals herself within, using mud to wall off the nest entrance. She remains there for weeks, molting and nurturing new life in total seclusion. The weight of the world now rests solely upon the male's shoulders. The survival of the entire family depends on his loyalty and endurance. By consuming large fruits that smaller birds cannot, hornbills carry seeds across vast distances. Their flights initiate a continuous process of rebirth, redrawing the map of the forest. They are the great sours of the wilderness. Among these branches, we also find the Bornean orangutan, the titan guarding the soul of Southeast Asian jungles. Weighing nearly 200 pounds, they are the largest arboreal animals on our planet. Mature males possess large cheek pads, which help project their territorial calls across several miles. With an arm span reaching 6.5 feet, these steel-like levers allow them to make impossible reaches across dangerous voids. To move such a massive frame requires immense energy. Intelligence is their ultimate tool. An orangutan's brain holds a complex cognitive map of hundreds of fruit trees in three-dimensional space. More importantly, it masters the growth cycles of every individual species. When the dry season turns the forest into a hungry green desert, the orangutan knows exactly which tree will bear fruit tomorrow. After 8 months of gestation, the female begins an uninterrupted 7-year commitment. This is the longest weaning and nursing period of any mammal, surpassed only by humans. It is a rigorous course in survival, where every secret of the jungle is meticulously passed to the next generation. The canopy is a safe fortress, but sometimes hunger forces them to do the unthinkable. Descending to the forest floor is a step into extreme risk. Their bodies are not built for the ground, turning the king of the trees into a sluggish exile. In the shadows of the dense undergrowth, the forest's top predators are waiting. In the lower strata of the canopy, where light is swallowed by shadow, a ghost awakens. This is the realm of the sunder-clouded leopard, a mystery of the Bornean wilds. It is often regarded as a modern incarnation of the ancient saber-toothed cats. It possesses canines over 2 inches long, the largest relative to body size in the feline family. Where the forest meets the river, life flourishes in a different fashion. The proboscis monkey is an extraordinary species found nowhere else but Borneo. They make their homes along the riverbanks, where dense vegetation provides a natural stronghold. In their society, the larger the nose, the higher the status. The nose serves as a resonance chamber, amplifying calls to warn rivals and entice mates. To survive on nutrient-poor mangrove leaves, they have evolved a complex, multi-chambered stomach similar to ruminants. Billions of symbiotic bacteria work tirelessly to break down cellulose and neutralize plant toxins. This adaptation allows them to exploit a food source that other competitors must ignore. However, life by the water is fraught with constant peril. When food becomes scarce, they must make a daring choice. Just beneath the silt of Borneo's rivers, the saltwater crocodile waits with infinite patience. Reaching lengths that can exceed 20 feet, this is the largest living reptile, the supreme monarch of brackish waters. Its rugged hide provides perfect camouflage, rendering it invisible until the very last moment. Thousands of sensitive pressure receptors on its jaw act as a radar system, detecting vibrations from dozens of yards away. Its bite exerts a force of 3,700 pounds per square inch, the most powerful in the animal kingdom. In Borneo, a single moment of inattention can cost one's life. Yet in this unforgiving realm, there are giants that know no fear. Emerging from the mist, the Bornean elephant appears in all its majesty. Their true strength lies not in their tusks, nor their trunks containing 40,000 muscles. That strength is found in unity and collective wisdom. The herd is led by the oldest and most sagacious female. Her brain is a living library, retaining maps of every water source and meadow for the past 60 years. When a calf goes astray, the matriarch emits infrasonic signals below 20 Hz. This sound travels through the ground for miles to summon the members. A defensive formation is immediately activated. A natural strategy, where the family is the beginning and the end of all protection. This is the eternal truth of Borneo's ancient forest, where harshness and compassion weave the symphony of existence. Further down, where fierce rivers carve into the mountain foothills, the face of the forest begins to shift. One must never mistake the gentleness of a herbivore for weakness. The sambar deer is the largest deer in Southeast Asia and one of the island's most robust land mammals. With a weight that can reach 550 pounds, its body is a mass of muscle and steel-like sinew. Sambar are highly selective browsers. They seek out only the most nutrient-rich young leaves, shoots, and fallen fruits. This premium fuel is converted directly into muscular power and tools of authority. But the stature of a giant is also a burden. In the eyes of predators, a sambar is a massive, mobile reservoir of protein. Consequently, they have developed a sixth sense, profound suspicion. Large ears rotate constantly like radar to detect the slightest hint of danger. Quiet strength combined with hypervigilance has made the sambar a symbol of resilience. Following in the tracks of giants is the sun bear. Though the smallest bear on Earth, this 5-foot creature possesses an ego larger than any other forest inhabitant. Nature has equipped it with a perfect toolkit. Its claws are specialized for climbing and tearing through wood. Its tongue can extend 10 inches, a record among all bear species. Loose skin around the neck acts as biological armor, allowing it to ignore the stings of 1,000 bees. This fearless temperament creates a perimeter of respect that gives even the most formidable predators pause. As night falls, the forest's pocket-sized hunters finally awaken. This is the tarsier, a primate measuring barely 4 inches in length. Immense eyes, larger than its own brain, are designed to capture every stray photon of light. Because they are so large, these eyes are fixed within the skull. To compensate, nature granted the tarsier a miraculous neck that can rotate nearly 270 degrees. The tarsier is the only primate in the world that is entirely carnivorous. Its existence depends on fresh protein from insects and small reptiles. The secret is in the hind legs, which feature unusually long tarsal bones. In an instant, it can launch itself 40 times its own body length. They communicate via ultrasound at 91 kilohertz, well beyond the hearing of predators like owls or snakes. The survival of this ancient lineage is bound to the health of the primary forest. Further north, a shadow battalion seizes control of the night sky. These are the flying foxes, the inverted monarchs of the High Kingdom. This is the largest fruit bat on Earth, with a leathery wingspan of 5 feet. In reality, their wings are hands with elongated fingers, connected by a thin membrane called the patagium. Unlike their smaller echolocating cousins, flying foxes rely on keen eyes and a sharp nose to detect ripening fruit from afar. On their nightly foraging expeditions, some wings must carry a double burden. A pup must cling tightly to its mother with feet and claws, becoming an inseparable part of her aerial acrobatics. Though many fear their appearance, the flying fox is a keystone species for this ecosystem. As they fly, tons of seeds are dispersed throughout the forest. They are the most industrious planters, reconnecting isolated fragments of green. When the sun sets, the ancient forest does not sleep. It merely shifts its cadence. The Sunda pangolin is the only mammal on Earth to trade warm fur for a suit of cold armor. Over 900 keratin scales overlap to create an impregnable shield. When threatened, it curls into a dense, armored sphere. Tragically, this very perfection has become the cause of its downfall. Humans have turned this proud armor into baseless traditional medicines, pushing the Sunda pangolin toward extinction. In the battle against greed, Borneo's best protected creature is failing to survive. The green peafowl, or Indonesian peacock, is a rare bird of regal splendor. Males can grow to 7 feet in length, adorned with metallic green plumage and a train featuring eye-like patterns. The breeding season coincides with the rains, when males display their fans in complex dances to attract mates. However, the green peafowl is critically threatened by habitat loss and illegal hunting. Deep within the tropical forests of Java, the dhole exists silently like a crimson spectre. The result of millions of years of evolution, it has become one of Southeast Asia's most effective pack hunters. Dholes hunt in packs of 5 to 12, coordinating through long whistles that echo through the forest. Yet, the dhole is classified as endangered, with only about 2,500 to 3,000 individuals remaining. Sumatra is a cradle of biodiversity, where many endemic species struggle to survive in the forest's shadow. Amidst the dense foliage, the silence is broken by the silent footfalls of the Sumatran tiger. It is the last remaining tiger subspecies in Indonesia and the smallest of all tigers. Its modest size is not a weakness, but a sophisticated adaptation to the dense jungle. A compact, agile body allows it to weave through tangled vines and narrow trails where prey least expects it. Its vivid orange coat with thick, bold black stripes allows it to dissolve into the forest's dappled light. These patterns are more than mere markings. They are perfect camouflage that shatters its silhouette. In this world of shadow and patience, it is a master of concealment, the ghost of the Sumatran forest. But that authority is now more fragile than ever. As the forest is fragmented by roads and plantations, its territory continues to shrink. With only a few hundred left in the wild, every step of the Sumatran tiger is more than a hunt. It is a silent battle for the survival of an entire wilderness legacy. Hidden within Sumatra's thickest foliage, a phantom from prehistoric times still endures. This is the Sumatran rhinoceros, the smallest and most ancient rhino species on Earth. It is the closest living relative to the woolly rhinoceros, a relic of an ice age that ended millennia ago. With its thin coat of hair and two small horns, it carries the imprint of a world long gone. But this echo from the past is slowly fading away. Today, this solitary and shy creature exists only in Sumatra and a small pocket of Borneo. With fewer than 80 individuals left in the wild, it stands on the precipice of extinction, listed as critically endangered. Habitat loss and relentless poaching are the primary threats driving this ancient animal to its absolute limit. Each footstep in the quiet forest is a fragile reminder of a heritage we are at risk of losing forever. At the very peak of the Sumatran canopy, a solitary figure moves with quiet grace. This is the Sumatran orangutan, known in the local tongue as the person of the forest. A sage of the high branches. A master of the heights, it rarely descends to the damp ground where danger constantly lurks. Arms, far stronger than legs, are the perfect tools for traversing the gaps between the trees. Every movement is intentional, slow, and deeply calculated. Its brain maintains a detailed map of the forest, recalling the location and ripening time of every fruit tree. Yet its greatest legacy is passed down through an unbreakable maternal bond. For nearly a decade, the young will learn everything from their mother, from building a nightly nest to identifying hundreds of edible plants. It is one of the longest and most complex learning periods in the entire animal kingdom. However, millions of years of wisdom cannot withstand a single modern force. Beneath their high paradise, the roar of chainsaws is growing louder. The forest is vanishing at an alarming and unprecedented rate. With only about 13,000 remaining, each individual is a precious gem, a flickering hope for Asia's only great ape. Yet beyond the hunts and the struggles, what remains is the profound fragility of existence. When habitats shrink and populations are counted only in the dozens or hundreds. Every living soul becomes a living legacy of millions of years of evolution. Every step is not just a search for food, but a silent war against disappearance. Life here requires no myth to achieve greatness. Its value is found in its persistence, its intelligence, and its capacity to adapt. And the future of that legacy no longer rests on instinct, but on the choices made by humanity. If there is one place on Earth a lion does not want to be, it is here, caught between a herd of buffalo and a great river. Although buffalo are the lion's prey, they are also formidable adversaries. They can kill lions, and frequently do. The pride has not eaten, and now they are the ones being challenged. A wall of horns advances. The lionesses and their cubs have been driven to the water's very edge. They have nowhere left to run. Big Toe, the dominant male, moves forward to slow the herd's advance. He stands between the buffalo and the rest of his pride. He attempts to hold his ground. But the buffalo have gained the upper hand. One bull charges. The entire pride is forced to take to the water. first flood from the hunter and her cubs. They have never had to swim before. The young are panicking. Their frantic splashing could easily attract crocodiles. We could lose one of these lionesses, or their cubs. The mothers hesitate. They are reluctant to enter the deep water. Two of the mothers follow their cubs into the channel. Even a magnificent male like him is vulnerable to attack. They are still in deep water. A brush with death. They have reached the far bank of the channel. It has been an ordeal almost too great to bear. While the terrestrial hunters struggle in the mire, the open sky belongs to another sovereign. A sharp, piercing cry, full of pride, echoes across the landscape. It is the signature call of the African fish eagle. For this bird, the flooded season is not an obstacle, but a magnificent gift. The rising waters expand the river's boundaries, bringing countless fish into the shallow grasslands. This change inadvertently exposes the aquatic creatures just beneath the surface. From 100 feet above, the eagle's keen eye locks onto a flicker of movement. It folds its wings, plummeting towards the water like an arrow released. In an instant, its powerful talons strike, gripping the slippery, scaled surface of its prey. The hunter soars back into the air, carrying its prize, which thrashes, sending silver droplets scattering. The flooded grasslands may be a snare for those on the ground. But it is a generous banquet, laid out by nature for the king of the skies. Following the fish eagle's flight, we are led to calmer, shallower waters. Here, the tension of the struggle for survival seems to dissolve entirely. In its place is the unhurried rhythm of the planet's largest land animal. A great family of African elephants makes its slow procession into the marsh. Leading them is the old matriarch, the keeper of the herd's collective wisdom. During the dry months, she had to guide her family for dozens of miles each day, searching for just a few dwindling pools. But now, that arduous journey is a distant memory. The rains have brought the elephants their greatest gift, tranquility. Dexterous trunks draw up cool, clear water, soothing the equatorial heat. The water and the soft mud beneath are also a perfect form of skincare. They spray this mud over their thick yet surprisingly sensitive skin. This muddy coating forms a natural shield, cooling their bodies and warding off troublesome insects. Amid this peaceful scene, the youngest elephants enjoy a moment of carefree delight. They splash and spar in the shallows under the affectionate watch of their elders. These games are more than simple entertainment. They are how the young hone their skills and strengthen the powerful, unbreakable bonds of family. Their immense weight is now gently supported by the water. In this gentle moment, the burden of a harsh world is lifted. The vast wilderness seems to hold these gentle giants in its embrace. This season of renewal is more than a miracle that quenches a parched continent's thirst. It is a great and powerful force, rewriting the unforgiving rules of the natural world. The water has upended the old order, turning proud terrestrial predators into strugglers and bestowing power upon the inhabitants of the floodplain. This glorious abundance is, in the end, but a brief chapter in the eternal cycle of the seasons. A world of deception and brutality, yet one of a breathtaking, vibrant beauty. And as long as the first rains return, the grand symphony of life in this green realm will never fall silent.